All right, here we go. John Salley, welcome back.
My friend Vlad.
Yes.
You know, I have no conversations in the streets unless it's about you. Like my guys at Burger Guys, one of the owners, he don't say nothing. Greatest one. Well, I'm gonna say they better than my burger at Plant Base. I ain't gonna front. Burger Guys and people, they from Baltimore. They got 2 trucks now. I'll get in there. My man's looking. I said, "What?" He goes, "Man, you on there with Vlad?" And then I go, "Right, man. Vlad's a Fed." I go, "Vlad's not a Fed." Boom. I said, "You don't know what's funny? I got literally, you gotta have papers." And I said, and literally the Casanova thing, they said that the reporters that they got it from watching Nick Cannon's show.
Right. The feds actually, during Casanova's bail hearing.
And in the defendant's own words, in a November 2019 radio interview with Nick Cannon, the defendant made clear that he is, quote unquote, still ape. That is, a member of Gorilla Stone. With regard to media interviews the defendant has done, defense counsel references interviews where he said good things about the community, and he references that interviews where he mentions his violent past are about the violent past and have nothing to do with the present. I would just reiterate the Nick Cannon interview from 2019 where he says still ape. So he's currently still a member of Gorilla Stone.
They specifically named Nick Cannon's interview with Casanova as one of the reasons to deny Casanova's bail, because in that interview, Casanova talked about his gang affiliation.
Yeah. So when I said that, he goes, "Nah, man, he be, people that don't know, they be put in positions." And I want to say this to everybody. Everybody that gets in front of this camera is hot. It's not like you putting on people that we kind of don't know or are not going to give you a great story. So when they come on here, if they want to perpetuate their image, right? You're asking. This is what I told them. I said the reason I even agreed to do Vlad, because all the years of watching you, is you ask the questions that everybody really wants to ask, but don't have the balls to ask it.
Right.
So even when I got here, if you're not ready to be interviewed by you, they should deny you.
Exactly.
That's all it is. So I'm just saying to all those out there that think that my friend is a Fed, I know some Feds. He ain't one of them.
Right. Well, listen, if I'm the Feds, then Nick Cannon is J. Edgar Hoover, because he's actually in the paperwork. I'm not in the paperwork.
I'm happy my man Nick got his show back, though. He got his show back.
Got his show back.
Wait.
You got his show back. And, and all the people out there, like the Questloves that were tweeting people to, not mess with me because they were blaming me for the Casanova thing.
Questlove did that?
Owe me an apology. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Y'all owe me an apology because I'm not in the paperwork. There's fake articles going around, but I'm not in the paperwork.
Right.
But at the end of the day, am I the Feds? Is Nick Cannon the Feds? No, none of us are the Feds. We do interviews, and people want to put out there what they want to put out there.
Right.
And if they want to put out their gang affiliation, and that turns around and bites them later on, it just is what it is. If you rap about it in your song, if you talk about you're a Crip or a Blood in your song, they're going to use it just the same way.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to say, "Oh, that's just entertainment." Nah. Yeah. You talk about that, they're going to pull up the videos with the blue or red rags and, everything else like that. It's all going to be part of it.
I feel like Big Meech, Larry Hoover.
There you go. Well, it's very, very, very sad news right now. And, this situation may change by the time the interview comes out or not. Dmx is on life support as we speak. He had a heart attack a few days ago. And I've actually spoken and am speaking to people that are there next to him, that are around, people that were there when it happened and so forth. We actually released the official statement from the family. And unfortunately, I'm not getting good news.
Let me say this about, when people are going over it. And I watch, I'm looking at DMX. They tell me that it was a stroke, heart attack. So just to let people know, a stroke, if you got a heart attack, if you have a stroke, you have cardiovascular problems. That's just the blood just is a blockage somewhere.
Yes.
If they are able to, or if he, because it comes down to, you're fighting in these situations. Your body is doing what it can to survive. If his body figures out how it is to survive, this might be a lesson or to everybody. It may be a preaching to everybody. We talk about health. I always happy to talk to you about health. You now being back plant-based,
yes,
which is a cool thing. But what levels? I'm going to the raw level. Like I'm moving further and further toward Dr. Sebi, Dick Gregory, Dr. Africa mentality. I'm doing that now too. So which is a trip. But you can only do what you can do, and you get your time on this planet. I love DMX though, and I see what the fans are doing, and people. It's ridiculous.
Did you know him at all?
Yeah, I got to sit and meet DMX because of Tom Arnold. Believe it or not, because he did the movie.
Wait, what?
Tom Arnold
and DMX were in a movie together?
Yeah.
What movie is this?
The movie where he was downtown L.A. and he is.
Exit Wounds.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, right, because Michael Jai White was in it as well.
Right.
Me and him were talking last night about this.
Yeah, man. So I got to go down and meet with DMX. And it was funny because DMX is out there with his remote control cars, and I'm just looking at it, and he's like he is when you see him. That way of talk. I've never met anybody ever in my life talk like DMX. There's not been an uncle, a cousin. You have to literally go into yourself to put on your DMX persona. You have to figure it out. I've never met anybody speak to him this way, and the way his brain moves, right? So I just, I got down there and hung on set, and it was Joe Silva. So it was a lot of waiting around. So I got to talk to him then. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to film him one time when I was filming for the Ed Lover Show.
Yeah.
On Power 105 in New York. And it wasn't really an interview. It was just DMX being DMX, like doing 50 push-ups, just to show everyone in the room that he could do 50 push-ups. He did an Omarion impression. He like lifted his shirt up and did like this sexy kind of Omarion R&B dance kind of. And it was the most energy I've ever seen anyone have in my presence.
Yeah.
I didn't have to ask any questions. the camera was just pointed at him, and he was just DMX. I've never seen that level of performance, star power, just drawn to the camera naturally. It wasn't an act. It wasn't like when the cameras are on, he's one way, or when they're off, he's
DMX.
He's DMX 24/7.
Oh, he's like Flavor. Flav. That's another. Like, there's people like Flav and like DMX that you don't have to. They won't put on. That's just who they are.
Boosie's another one.
Boosie. Yeah. Oh my God, I love Boosie.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping he pulls through.
Yeah.
You never know. A lot of people had written off Lamar Odom when he was in a similar, situation.
Yeah. How old is DMX?
DMX just turned 50.
Just turned 50.
Just turned 50.
It's a trip, man. It's half a century is a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Especially with hard living.
Yeah.
Especially with hard living. Because I remember when I was talking to Michael Jai White about this last night, because when they were doing the movie, and I said, "Oh, did you ever see him maybe, take drugs or anything?" He goes, "No, but the drinking that X was doing during the course of this movie was just mind-shattering." He said he had a guy there that just would pour liquor for him just throughout the day.
Wow.
And he would function like this. And he would just, he just hit everything hard, regardless of what it was.
Yeah, I was just happy to be in his presence, and because I love hip hop.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he knew how kind of fan I was. I just played it off, but I just stayed there like everyone else, and you stare at him and you watch this, and then the way they talk, and then when he moves, and it's in a piece. It's like an old karate flick. Like he talks like an old karate flick. That's what DMX reminds me of.
You want to fight? Fight me.
Who are you? Yeah. And it's so him. And I was like, what does he sound like? No one sounds like him.
No one sounds like him. A phenomenal talent. Those first 3 albums were just ridiculous. If you ever seen him, perform like Rough Riders Anthem in front of like 100,000 people, when everyone knows the chorus, and but with that went an extremely rough life. I remember recently I was researching him and going through his whole backstory. His mother, he had pulled something, he was going through his mother's purse. He like pulled out a piece of paper or something, and his mother ended up beating him with a broomstick and like knocking his teeth out at like 6 years old. He ended up being homeless early on. He just had to get out of his house. He started just sleeping around dogs, which is how he kind of became like, the whole affinity towards pit bulls and everything. The drug addiction, the fights, the arrests, the prison time, the rehab, the coming out, the kids, the lawsuits.
It was such a full life.
A lot, but so much accomplishment along the way. The movies like Belly, or, doing a movie with Aaliyah, or, the multi-platinum albums. I think he was one of the first rappers to go like have a #1 album twice in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. Just so much, man. And listen, everyone's praying for him. There's a huge, all the Rough Rider, motorcycle group is all outside holding a vigil and everything. You never know, man. He might pull through, and he might come back out, and
gotta send that energy.
Sending
DMX energy.
There you go. Then there's Paul Pierce.
Then there's Paul
Pierce, who recently lost his job at ESPN for posting a video of a stripper, as well as various other drinking and smoking that was happening. I guess the thing of it is that Paul Pierce is actually married with kids.
He's divorced.
Oh, he's divorced.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that part is wrong. So this is just a single man being a single man. But then again, ESPN is owned by Disney.
Well, I just talked to Dana Pump, and Dana and David Pump, if you know who the Pump brothers are, they know that. Okay, so they're like basketball royalty, and since they were little boys, they've been around, and they literally, the Pumps make things happen. They have a great charity foundation, that cancer side for his mom and dad, but the Pumps have always run pump and shoot, run and shoot. I think it's pump and shoot, and they always been associated with sports. So first person I called was Dana, because Dana, when he saw what was going on, was trying to call his phone through Instagram so you can get it to hang up. You just, when you see things, or when I see things like that, and I'm watching it. And, I sent a text to him, sending you energy, and I knew I was going to talk about it. Just to say, forget it. I would have used a different word if I was younger. Forget it. I don't care. We might have to talk to him about that. Just to, all of a sudden, you got to know. He's old enough. You got to know, one, if you're not on a podcast with 2 other guys that's smoking cannabis, if you have any pornography around you. They look what they did to my man Lil Bootsy. Lil Bootsy's like, yo, Instagram, give me back my page,
Yeah.
Even what Michael Blackston does, or what my man Tory Lanez does. You can see that stuff, but not everything you see you should do or can do. And I sat there and showed my wife, and my wife's mouth was agape. She could not. She was like, what's happening? Because you look at it, you go, Paul is too refined for that. It looked like something else was going on in his brain. I'm not even going to have any alleged thoughts. He just didn't look like my favorite player. And he used to be, when he played, I loved the Celtics. Him and Garnett, I loved it. Just didn't look the same.
Look, if he's a single man, He's over 18. There's nothing wrong or illegal in terms of what he's doing. Lots of men are doing the exact same thing right now. Now, but once again, you have a contract with ESPN.
Right.
And there's all types of clauses. There's all types of clauses in there. And once again, ESPN is owned by Disney.
Let me just say that, though. So I was doing Ben Lyon's show. He had a radio show at one time on Disney. And I said the word penis. And they banned me from ESPN because you can't say that word. It has Disney with kids. I go, how do you think the kids were made? Right? And this guy was like, I said, I used the right word, and it's 8:30 at night. Those kids should be asleep if I say penis. But, you got to think about that too. But the other part you got to think about is, as opposed to just his job, I'm more concerned with Paul.
So you think he looks off?
Listen, I done been high as a kite. Not on television, because I got a lot to remember. But I've been high. I've never been drunk because I'm not really that much of a drinker. I don't really drink in public, but I've been really high. I know the lines. The difference is we're from an era where not everybody had cameras. So for him to even have his own camera on, he probably got caught in, maybe he thought he was on his close friends. I'm trying to give every excuse in the world. Yeah,
I mean, because he's streaming it himself. Like, right. I'm looking at the video right now.
Right.
He's streaming. He can't blame it on someone else.
No, he's not. And the trip is he's unapologetic. In this, he's like, who he's talking to, he's being, I guess we want to call it free. Maybe this was the only way for him to be free.
Yeah, I mean.
Because even in his commentary, he's really serious. He's really reserved. If you watch him, he's, he got his glasses on, he's concerned. He's giving you intellect. That right there just seemed like it was like spun loose, and it was almost, like, yo, you wildin'. Like no friends was around him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No real friends, because real friends would have been like, yo, dog, no.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Kuzma called him a sicko. On Twitter. Really? I mean, jokingly. But, man, listen, Paul Pierce is rich. Maybe at a certain level, he just said, man, I'm done with this hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take this money and I'm going to live the life that I want to live. If he's, divorced, like you say, he's like, man, listen, I'm just tired of pretending to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
So I can keep getting these ESPN checks.
Yeah. I asked Dana, I said, yo, what's up with him? He said, I know them both. They were divorced. And I don't know, because I don't get into people's personal business. 2 wonderful kids. Great house. Beautiful house. The house is hot.
Yeah, I mean, according to the internet, he has a net worth of $70 million.
Yeah.
I mean, $70 million. That's multi-generational wealth. That's right off into the sunset wealth. You don't need those ESPN checks. I mean, I'm sure they're nice.
Right.
But you don't need those checks.
Pandemic had a lot to do with everything. Everything is off.
Yeah.
Things that seemed like they would never go off, things are off. The truth, you would never have been able to say to me, this is what's happening, Paul. Never. Because that right there looked like a total meltdown. Because somebody would be like, yo, what you doing? Because the funny thing is, he's the guy that says to somebody else, yo, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? He's definitely the patriarch in that house, and in everything he does. He's the man, and to see that just looked like he was not him normal self.
I mean, this almost reminds me, my interview with Lamar Odom that I just did. And in the interview, we talked about how he was suspended twice for marijuana.
Right.
That suspension, that set of suspensions, he feels cost him around $30 million.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing he said was like, I wasn't smoking by myself. He had like three or so people that he was supporting, paying their rent. You know, when he would go shopping, they would go shopping. They'd hang out with him. They'd be smoking with him. And he's like, at no point did any of these guys say, hey, you're the guy with all the money. Like, put that weed down. Like, you're going to fuck everything up. They just will smoke right along with him. And he's like, he's still kind of stunned, like, you know, like regretful over this. Like, yo, like, why didn't anyone say, nah, like, we're all going to suffer if you keep failing these drug tests. But nah, they just kept smoking with him.
Because you can't look outside yourself to other people to do what you're supposed to do. So you're the one making the money. You're the star. You're the focus.
Yes.
So I'm not going to let you get away with saying somebody should have told me. Now,
yeah,
I'm not. I understand it, but we also understand what it takes to get there. And Lamar's right about this. After the first one, his boy should have been like, yo, let's not mess this up. And somebody should have been able to get in his head. But Lamar came in at 19 years old. And he was making it for everybody. So whatever you want, you give them. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it is with everything. You know, like look at Britney Spears now, right? Mm-hmm. People are not understanding that situation. When somebody understood that they needed to control her as much as possible to get the performance and get her out of people's way because they knew she had some chemical imbalances.
Yeah, I mean,
but Lamar's from a family of those problems, right? His
dad was a heroin addict,
right? So
mom died when he was 12, so there was no real direction. And you know, look, my suggestion to everyone is that at the point that you get some money, surround yourself with people that have at least that much money or more. You know, where they're not depending on you. Where if you say, well, I ain't going to fuck with you, like, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm not making nothing off you. Like, you know, another rich person could tell you, like, you're fucking up. And if you're going to mess up the stability, you're going to mess up these opportunities. And if you're going to get mad at me, then I really don't care because you're not doing anything for me. You're not supporting me. You're not paying my rent. You're not taking me shopping.
Right.
I got my own money.
Right. Yeah, you must have heard this before, Vlad.
I've heard this before.
But that's another thing. You can try to mentor people as much as you want. People have one of the things I do, like, you know, I got back in the music game. And one of the things I do with the artists is I say, hey, tell me everything you want or you think you want. Mm-hmm. And I said, don't be shy. Like, even if it's one of the things you may think is the dumbest thing in the world, just tell me what it is. And we write it all down. And we talk about when they're looking to get it. What point do you purchase this? What point do you we have those life discussions because I didn't have them. I knew I wanted to live in Beverly Hills and be in movies. By the time I got to Beverly Hills and was in movies, it was like, what's next? I don't know. So I went back to the NBA. I went back so I could get back to I was lucky enough to be able to get back in the NBA after 3 years. Right? Blessed. One, it was here in California. Two, it was Phil Jackson and Kobe and Shaq. Like everything, the stars aligned. And then right after I get out, that's in June. In July, I'm in Canada shooting a movie. In September, I'm the host of BET Live. Like it's moving so fast that everything that you try to manifest will come if you're open to it. And it was hitting me. And I wasn't. You know, I'm happy I didn't drink, and I'm happy the first time I smoked was 2000. I was happy I didn't have that thought to go to something else. I had to deal with it. And I had a different structure too. I had a different upbringing. My brothers are still alive. My mom's still alive. I have a good wife. My kids are great. You know, I have a lot of things that, you know, a lot of people don't run into. Think about my daughter's best friend. Was Keyshawn Johnson's daughter. And they hadn't been talking for a year. Can you believe this was her best friend from her junior year in high school? And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we fell out. We're not talking. I'm not talking to her anymore. Like, she's too much of this and this. And they both turned 25 this year. Before 25. So she, just knowing that I was able to help my daughter through things. And my older daughter, Giovanna, is now understand. She's looking back now. She's in her 30s. I can't say her age. And she was like, you were trying to be a father at this age I'm at right now? Like, I got to take my hat off to you. I was like, yeah, it's a trip being in your 30s. So I just was blessed to have, and I had great people around me, but a lot of people don't, bro.
Yeah, I've had crappy people around me. I've had people steal from me, rip me off, but nothing to the extent where I'm losing 30 million, that my whole career goes off the rails. But you got to take your lumps. You got to take your lumps, and you got to.
It's only money.
It's only money.
That's what you say. That's what you say in Vegas when you lose it. It's only money.
It's only money.
It's only money. Let's go. I got these certificates. I got these vouchers. We can at least eat.
Go get a buffet. Well, in other news, the whole Kevin Durant, Michael Rapaport thing.
So because I was so happy. That's why when you said, "Can you shoot tomorrow?" I was like, "Yes."
Mm-hmm.
Michael Rapaport and I have been around each other 40 years. No, he was 18 when I first met him. My man. That's my guy. I will never talk again to Michael Rapaport, right?
Yeah, I've interviewed him before.
Yeah.
We email each other sometime.
Yeah. And great dude, right? So on Best Damn Sports Show with me.
Mm-hmm.
Beat me out for the job for the Big Three.
You wanted to be the
commentator.
The commentator?
Yeah. And they went with Mike, and they went. Ice Cube went with Mike, which was cool. I thought it was going to be a fun gig, and it was for him. But you got to understand, this is a different culture now, right? And you used to be able to protect the superstars. You used to have protection and bounce. But when you have connection directly to your audience, and your audience has connection directly back to you, there's no buffer like it used to be. There's no talk to this writer or call this reporter or call the station and say, don't drop that story. Can't do that now because everything is instant. Everything is happening in supposedly real time. So Mike's looking at it like, KD's hitting me. Oh my God, everybody's going to see this. And I'm going to go back and forth with KD. He didn't think. It's like, you can't talk about Beyonce. Beehive will get you. Can't talk about Nicki. You can't talk about KD. You better stay away from LeBron. Their armies are tremendous, and especially when they can literally get to you. Before, people couldn't get to you. They would hide you in Palm Springs. They would take you up north to Big Bear, take you out east to Big Bear. Right. You can kick back, I'm going up the coast of Carmel. People won't know who you are. But now, everybody is in real time. Mm-hmm. So, like they said, if you're going to put somebody, I listen to Shannon Sharp, if you're going to put somebody out, they can't be famous. You, Michael Rapaport, are making people famous, Instagram famous, when you do your shame game. But when you got KD, he got fans that trust and believe whatever he does.
Yeah, I mean, them going back and forth on Twitter, on DMs is really whatever. I mean,
right.
I've had crazy DMs from lots of people. The fact that he actually posted those DMs, I thought was pretty weak.
It was very weak. Yeah. But I'm not defending Michael. Yeah. He can do it himself. He's been doing a good job this week.
Right.
He's on every show. Which in the world, Vlad, we know not all publicity is bad publicity. Well, even if bad publicity, if it's going to get you more people. But in this world, in this time, what I mean by real time, it's a different flow. That cancel, coastal, put you off is different. I think if he wasn't famous, like when he's not, that's what he said. If he wasn't famous, and I would have put those DMs out like when people say things, it doesn't make a difference. But this is KD. And you know what happened when KD we had this conversation when he left OKC and went to Golden State. What did I say on this? I am a Golden State fan. Like, mm-hmm. I am a Kevin Durant fan. And I like tremendous. So I'm Team KD, but I've been around Mike forever. And I just feel bad for Mike. Like he said, it got too far, the wrong person to post.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that he posted, I mean, well, here's the thing. Number one, you can't just put this on one person. You can't just put it on Mike.
Right.
At the end of the day, Kevin Durant is very aware that whatever DM you leave, whatever voicemail you leave, whatever text message, whatever phone call you have, potentially all of that could get recorded, screen captured, reposted.
Yeah.
And unless you could prove it wasn't you, which is very hard to prove, especially when it is you, you're going to have to hold whatever that is. So many occasions. I've had myself record. I've had DMs reposted with people who I thought I could trust. Conversations retold in fucked up ways with false slants and, you know, false details and everything else like that. And I am a minuscule, the level of celebrity I have is minuscule compared to KD.
Right.
And I haven't even been doing it as long as he has. So he knows when you're basically putting these like homophobic slurs and saying you're going to beat his ass and spit in your face and all that type of stuff. How, as a Kevin Durant, are you not aware that this could potentially come out and really hurt you?
Well, this is why. No one, I'm not also being an apologist for Kevin Durant because he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
He's man enough to say, yeah, I wrote it. I set it up. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
He didn't run from it. Right.
Right.
But also, I think because I have to do this so many ways because my teammate was Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Right. So, D-Rod is, when things sometimes seem like they were running amok, things just like the time, they talk about with him at the Palace and the gun behind. That's a level of, wow, what's going on I had to deal with. It wasn't, that's big. This is just some words between men. But the frustration, man, that a lot of people are not realizing the tough life. I know people are going to DM you and go off on what I'm saying. But do you realize the stress KD must be under? I sat back and said, okay, what would make him literally spew those words at Michael Rapaport and doesn't even really know him? Like, where's that hate coming from, right? So when somebody screams or does something, well, that's hate. But where's it coming from? It's not, you see that person, you hurt that person. It has to come from somewhere else. And then I sat and started remembering my life in the NBA. I don't have a game at 7:30 tonight. I have a game all day. From when I wake up, I have a game, to practice, I have a game, to the pre-meal, if I get the right sleep, if I'm on time for the bus, and then I got to go against somebody that doesn't want to lose their money and is trying to kill me. So you're living, it's like being, constantly under pressure. And I see KD get so mad with the media. He's under so much pressure. I watch how he talks to the media too. He's a killer on court and he's a killer off court. And it's a hard life to live.
Yeah. Well, Nick Young compared him to D'Angelo Russell in terms of the whole snitching thing. Which Nick, of course, got to feel on his own some years back.
Oh, I wasn't going to say something about D'Angelo. I think I did say something that when I was here. I don't like that snitching thing. But Michael thought it would be, hey, Kevin Durant answered me back, and this is what he said. He should have read the text, and as opposed to that New York, fuck it, I'm putting it out. He should have realized he's not a New York Knick, but he's still in New York. And he's from Baltimore, Maryland area.
Nick Young called him Michael D'Lo Rapaport. Well, Kevin Durant apologized publicly, and he was also fined $50,000, which I think might make him file bankruptcy. He might have to sell some stuff to make that money back. An absolute.
Some Boys and Girls Club is about to get $50,000.
Yeah, it's about to get that.
Thank you for the $50,000 tax deduction.
Right. Clearly it's a minuscule amount of money for him. It doesn't have any type of effect for him. Listen, when it comes to this fame thing, it's always hard for me to feel any level of sympathy to someone who chose to be in the public, in the public light.
Which one are you talking about?
Kevin Durant. I mean,
Okay.
do I feel bad that Kevin Durant feels attacked and, and loses it and cracks? No, I don't, because Kevin could ultimately just retire and go back to just having a private life. Get
Everybody
off social
feels
media.
that, but it's still life. Like it's more than just about money. And I think the fact that he even like the words he was saying was almost like he wasn't the one writing it. That because it was so
it was pretty over the top.
Yeah, it was pretty weird that it came out. But I say this because I know the cat is a conscious thinker. I know sitting on a team with Kyrie and having, Harden back there, and now, having this thing together, it's so hard to win championships and putting them all together and all these different energies. And, you come off an injury and you don't play some nights. I mean, there's so much frustration going on in his brain that that's why I said when I read it, I know something else was going on because it was so vicious. And you have to sit there and do this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he said it, boom, 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 and got it off his chest.
No, he
had to literally
multiple
sit and
DM after DM after
Right.
DM responses. Listen, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Is going to go down as
You know who he is.
as an all-time great.
Yeah. You know who I am,
all-time
right?
great. He's your favorite player these
My
days,
favorite
right?
player. But I say that. That's why I said it. It's not anything he could do wrong.
Right.
Yo, Kevin, who we going to get? You know what I'm saying? So,
So Kevin Durant is your favorite player, but he's not playing on your favorite team right now,
right,
which is the Lakers.
right.
Now, allegedly, LeBron is supposed to be recruiting Steph Curry to the Lakers 2022. That's the rumor.
Well,
Do you see it happening?
I don't think it'd be good for Steph.
Hmm.
I don't think it would be good for Steph. Kobe Bryant is a Los Angeles Laker. A certain play now, I'm not gonna. People are gonna say, but LeBron's gone here, there. LeBron has made it a point. Like my man Greeny on ESPN literally said, the one guy no one should ever talk about is LeBron because the level of stuff he has done for the past 18 years, people should not credit the things he's done in the community. I'm also like Shannon Sharp. I'm a LeBron ass kisser, but I admit it. I think the kid is the most unbelievable specimen I've ever seen. And I say that to people, 6'11", 265 pounds, jumps 48 inches off the ground, shoots the long ball, can pass it, and actor. And he's the new Space Jam. They didn't get it to Kobe.
Right.
I mean, he's the image. So I love LeBron. But LeBron is now a Laker. He was Cleveland. Like LeBron could not go to another team at all unless it was the New York Knicks. The only other team he can go to, and people would be like, oh, let's see him revive this, is the New York Knicks. But for Steph Curry to come in here and share the court with LeBron, there's not enough room and there's not enough basketballs for Steph Curry to be on this team. The games would be 165 points a game. 165. Like Vegas would be happy, but Steph should retire in a Golden State jersey. Period.
Right. 'Cause that's what kind of hurts LeBron's legacy a little bit, is the fact that he jumps around so many different teams.
If he keeps winning championships, it's going to look like he revives those teams. Like he's the reason those teams win.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? He goes in, brings them a championship. He goes in, brings them a championship.
This is true. I mean, this is true.
Right.
But obviously the Jordan comparison is always going to come in, and Jordan stayed on the Bulls the whole time. I mean, until the very end.
Right.
But in terms of all his championships, they're all done with the Bulls.
Right. But when he goes to, then people didn't understand. It was like he wants to play so much the Bulls and not letting them play. They think it's a like Tom Brady thing. It wasn't. Michael Jordan was a part owner of MCI. MCI bought the MCI Arena. They bought the team. they needed to make people like the team again. They changed the name to the Wizards. He had to put the jersey on, sell the jersey. That was his deal. But like, certain players are gonna, like when Kevin got, like when the Truth came and played when Paul Pierce, back to Paul, came and played for the Clippers. I just didn't think it looked good. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, P, Truth, like, stay there. D-Wade going to Chicago. It didn't look good.
Didn't look good, yeah.
It didn't look good. And I don't really care if they think it did. It didn't.
Yeah.
It may be a childhood dream for you, but it didn't look good. So going back to Miami, that's his jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it looked.
LeBron and Steph Curry.
It's not that you're going to want to watch that.
And Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
On the same team.
Andre Drummond. That was the smartest thing they could have ever done. I haven't seen Dre yet, but my office is over by the practice facility for Title Sport, and I haven't even walked in to see him.
Well, Gilbert Arenas did an interview recently where he explained why Dennis Rodman couldn't guard LeBron James. Now, this referenced an interview from 2019 where Rodman said he would have locked up LeBron on the court if they were in the NBA together. He said, fuck yeah, I would have locked his ass up. LeBron is so easy to play. He's so fucking easy to play. He don't have any moves. Only move he has is streak down the line. He ain't got no moves. Where's he going? Where's he going that quick? Now, Gilbert Arenas responded. He said, Dennis Rodman, 6'7", 210-pound guy, wouldn't be stopping LeBron. Let it go. He's a point guard. You were great at defending people back to the basket. He's going downhill. Your brute strength has no bearing on downhill guards. He said the hand check worked because the guard wasn't a scorer. He was a setup guy. So he's sitting there with his back to the basket trying to get this offense and get it to the big man down low. So it's easy to just hand check a guy who's not moving anywhere.
Okay, so all of Gilbert said was true. The hand check changed everything. Mm-hmm. The physical play, being able to touch like that, they got rid of that because it worked in Dennis's favor. But as far as Dennis being 6'7", we call Dennis on the Pistons, we don't call him Worm, we call him Big Man. So it's a big man, because big man guard Akeem. And he's right. Akeem had his back to the basket. But Dennis was the fastest player, fastest runner, the most unbelievable physical specimen to play basketball. Anybody that knows basketball will tell you that's about Dennis. And Dennis in his prime, there's never been anybody like LeBron. I say that. There's been Bernard King, who is the closest I've seen LeBron get to. It's been Magic Johnson being able to dribble and pass and see the floor and get his teammates involved. There's been Kobe Bryant with a laser focus. There's a Michael Jordan who took everything he could from Dr. J and all the people he watched. But LeBron is all of them. And the difference is, D-Rod, the referees or the NBA has changed its way. They're not caring about the defense. They want more points because our sport now, this NBA sport, is focused to international play, not the down, dirty East Coast is physical and the West Coast is finesse. That mentality of what the NBA used to be is no longer. So you couldn't. I'm glad Dennis feels that, and I think Dennis would guard him greatly. But Dennis also guarded the one person I saw Dennis have problems with is Rain Man. And that was a different way of playing too. He's right. You can't check people now. You can't put your forearm on them. You can't drive them to something. You just can't play the way we used to play. So it wouldn't make any sense. The only thing you can do is see it on a video game, and they would have to input a whole bunch of crazy on one side and a whole bunch of crazy on the other.
Well, LeBron said I should have 4 more MVP awards.
He should. I thought he got robbed. What I said though, which I don't realize.
I actually agree with this, yeah.
Right. And I said this here, LeBron. I said this on this show. It's not just that you should have had him. The NBA is a business, and they have to navigate their business. And in navigating the business, they have to see what the future of the business is. LeBron is 37, 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And the Greek Freak has two brothers in the NBA.
Yeah.
And they're African. And now we're selling not only to China, but we're selling throughout all of Africa. They're just back to, like, it's an international show. It's like the show Hamilton, man. The original cast of Hamilton was amazing. Could never get them back on stage together.
Yeah. Well, Draymond Green,
my other favorite,
has declared himself the best defender to ever play in the NBA.
Yeah, he's tripping. Yeah, Draymond is tripping.
Who would you put above Draymond?
Oh my God, Dennis Rodman.
There you go. There you go.
Let's start with a guy who got all defensive play. I don't know how many years, made the All-Star game and all that without even putting the ball in the basket. So let's start there. Alvin Robinson. I'm going to go to a name just to make these kids look him up. Was amazing. Gary Payton, the reason he was called the Glove. There's defenders. John Salley will block your shot and get in your head and can guard somebody shorter than him and somebody 60 pounds heavier. Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond is, like I told you, if it was Piston times now, we would trade for Draymond. I'd probably be traded for them to get Draymond Green.
I looked up the top 10 defenders of all time.
Sidney Moncrief.
According to fadeawayworld.net, actually. Some of which you've already named.
Right.
But according to this particular list, and you could agree or disagree, here's a top 10 list from 1 to 10. No matter of fact, we'll go from 10 to 1.
Got it.
Number 10 is Gary Payton, which you mentioned.
Right.
Number 9 was Kobe Bryant. Nah.
Yeah. What? Nah.
Okay. Kevin Garnett is number 8. Tim Duncan. Dwight Howard. Wallace, which is kind of close to home for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mutombo.
I was about to say, because I left that out. Ben Wallace Mutombo, yes.
Then there's Scottie Pippen.
Yes. But I've told you this so many times on this show. Everybody, Scottie Pippen is not the guy that holds Michael Jordan's valet. Scottie Pippen is part of the reason Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Like, it has to happen. It was like Dean and Lewis. Like, it had to happen. Costello. Abbott and Costello.
Number 4 is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, yeah. Did they put Joe Dumars in there? Because Joe Dumars kind of locked him up.
No. Number 3 is Dennis Rodman, who you mentioned
Dennis
first.
Rodman, yes.
Number 2 is Hakeem Olajuwon.
Go ahead.
And then number 1 is Bill Russell.
Okay. This is the deal. They mentioned the big guys because of their shot blocking abilities.
Yeah.
Okay. And guarding people in that position. It's almost like being a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mentality when you got these big guys. But to be able to guard somebody dribbling the basketball, imagine trying to guard Harden. That has to be the hardest job on the planet, is to guard Harden. I'm telling you. Just trying to guard Steph Curry.
Right.
Trying to guard Kyrie Irving. Like I said, if Isaiah Thomas said it's the best ball handler he's ever seen in his life is Kyrie Irving, and Isaiah being the best ball handler I've ever seen, that should tell you something. Trying to guard somebody putting the ball down, it's much easier, like Gilbert Arenas said, to play with a guy with his back to the basket that can't see the rim. It's an easier person to play. He can't just run you over, so he can either go right or left. But no, there's Lance Stevenson.
Okay. So basically, you're not even putting Draymond Green in your top 10.
In my top 10? No.
No. Best
But I
defender.
got in trouble for that before, too. The people I've played against, if we're bringing in my era, the golden era, I'm going to say that now. The late 80s, 90s is a golden era.
Right.
If I can bring it in, if we're going to call it the golden era, Scottie Pippen will shut you down, right? Because you can't bounce pass because his knuckles are on the ground already.
Right. The obscenely long arms.
Yeah. And then you have, Michael was good. He and they would turn people. But there's so many people we're leaving out because they're not as famous. But Draymond is a good defender. But it's so funny. Another reason I like Draymond, he knows how to keep the camera on him. That's an important. Staying relevant is an important thing to do.
David Robinson is another one.
David Robinson. So they're going with shot blockers. They're going over shot blockers. So I understand what Draymond is saying. If we take the shot blocking part out of it and take out the fact that people can turn around and face you, Draymond might be in the top 10. I'm going to take that back.
I mean, every list I'm looking through, Bill Russell is number one on that list.
Because Bill Russell blocked everybody's shot.
Right.
It wasn't
You
just
can't
his
get past
man.
him. Yeah.
Right. He had to guard Wilt Chamberlain, brother. That's ridiculous.
Well, Draymond also said he's tired of women complaining about the pay gap.
He should shut up.
Well, here's my thing about that.
Yeah.
You can't really expect the same level of pay when you don't have the same audience. Now, if all the women out there stopped watching The View and started watching WNBA, then all of the female players would get a lot more money. But the reality is that how many people really watch WNBA games? Not that many compared to the male counterpart.
Okay.
A very small percentage, in fact.
But they should make more money. The NBA, the women should make more money in sports, because the fact that everything in the future is female. It's female. We're gonna have to get used to it. This male push mentality has to get. They may not be able to make, but they should be in the millions because they are entertaining. They are talent. We're gonna pay on talent. It's some real talent.
You don't pay on talent. It's a capitalistic society. You pay on audience, and you pay on advertising, and you pay on sponsorship.
Well, they got the advertising.
Well, no, they don't if they don't have the audience.
But
I mean,
they
you
have the advertising.
The advertising depends on how many eyeballs you get. Yeah, you could get the same, like they could get the exact same. They probably do get the same ads, that the NBA gets. But at the end of the day, if you have 10 million people watching versus 500,000 people watching, you're not going to get as big of a check. This is what I do for a living.
Right.
Like, this is what I do for a living.
So
it's all based on eyeballs and audience.
Totally not. Because Serena Williams would have been making way more money if it was based on eyeballs. Serena Williams
has a big audience in tennis.
Bigger than men.
Sometimes,
and didn't make the money men made. So that's not true.
Serena Williams doesn't make money?
No.
How much is she worth?
Go back and see the disparity between what she was getting paid and what the men was getting paid. And that's not audience. Her audience was tremendously bigger than...
She has a net worth of $210 million.
And guess what she did? Where'd it come from? Not from her salary on playing tennis.
From Nike and so forth?
That's the difference. He's talking about the salary. So it's not eyeballs because Serena had a bigger, way more eyeballs. And her sister did too. And they got paid less because they felt men should get paid more in that sport. More entertaining at some times to watch WNBA. I'm gonna tell you because it's not always about the dunk. And in the NBA, we would do things, and like I said, we would play this game. And I love Harold Miner. He was Baby Jordan or whatever. I loved him. And Kevin Lockery would play him once in a while. When he did play him, all of a sudden he got a free dunk and he did a dunk. And you had literally got 15, 20 points that game and you won. They're going to show the dunks on ESPN. They're going to show the highlights is a highlight. It's not literally the technical part of it. And then when you watch female play basketball, it's more technical than men using their physical abilities to do things, like be 7'5" and jumping the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's a difference. So I disagree with that. I think female sports should be paid more money because they do have more eyeballs because there are women watching them, and that's the audience. Do you ever realize that you'll never see a sports show now? There's only two sports panels that don't have women in them. That's Fox. No, three. Fox, CBS, and NBC.
Yeah.
The rest of it have a female
as a woman
in the situation. This because one went to act like, well, they didn't play, so hearing it come out of their voice, and I realized most of the coaches I played for weren't players.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in terms of the greatest female basketball players of all time, Cheryl Swoops.
Miller.
No?
Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller, not Cheryl Swoops?
Cheryl Swoops, yeah. But the greatest of all time for me was Cheryl Miller.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at this list now. Cheryl Swoops is number one. Diana Taurasi, number two.
Diana. Okay, yeah.
Tamika Catchings is number three. Lisa Leslie is number four.
I'm going to go, yeah. Swoops and
Maya Moore is five. Lauren Jackson is six. Man, your girl ain't...
T. Cooper in there?
Let me see. Where's Cheryl Swoops on this list? Hold on.
Cheryl Miller.
It's Cheryl Miller, sorry. She's not even on the list.
Wow.
She's not even on the list. But what I'm saying is Cheryl Swoops.
Unbelievable.
But in terms of the name recognition, if you are not a WNBA fan, you probably have not heard of Cheryl Swoops.
That's what I mean, the NBA.
If you've never watched a basketball game in your life, you know who LeBron is. You know who Kevin Durant is. You know who Michael Jordan is.
I'm not going to blame anybody because it all started with David Stern was still alive and pushed it and made it a possibility. But they did not market this the way they should have or could have because women have always been a second thought. They do it in college sports. They do it in the pros. It's funny. Women basketball in Europe, in Italy, is huge. In Russia, is huge. They see things differently, too. I mean, think about it. Our girls won the Olympic gold soccer tournament. You couldn't tell me one player from the team. They just don't market it. They don't market women. And it's until they get out of that mentality, it's going to be stuck.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, you make a good point. But ultimately, what it really comes down to, I mean, you could do this, you could do that, but ultimately, it's really about the audience and the eyeballs. And once you get to the point, and I think it really is going to get down to...
Not the eyeballs, because Serena proved, and in golf, right, I can also tell you, throughout female tennis, this is such a thing. They have way more eyeballs watching female tennis. There's more around the world. Golf, yeah, they're going to watch Tiger Woods in this situation, and they get, even then, you have great female golfers that we don't know about because they go, hey, I'm not going to promote these women. They're going to take the job of this. So they don't get the promotion.
Yeah, well, I mean, Naomi Osaka, she's hot to death right now.
Right.
She's getting promoted
now.
Yeah. You know, they're calling her the next Serena, essentially.
And they're saying she may be too dark. She needs to stay out of the sun.
Oh, I believe that. That's crazy.
I know, it's another crazy thing.
That's super crazy. Almost reminds me of the whole like royal family nonsense. Like, like how dark would the baby be? Like, what's wrong with you?
Prince Adakim.
Well, you know something? I was going to mention this later, but since you're mentioning it now, did you watch Coming to America too?
Yes, I always support my friend.
Now, the first time I watched it, I thought it was cool, but then I watched it a few more times. Well, I probably watched it about 4 times now, all the way through. And I'm going to say it's a classic.
2?
2. Coming to America 2 is a classic.
Why'd you say that?
I think that ultimately it's just a great film. It's a great film. Has standout performances.
Leslie
Jones killed it. Wesley Snipes killed it. All the characters, and this is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't watched it, just turn this off. But all the characters from the first one were brought back so well. Randy Watson.
Except one.
Which one?
Soul Glow.
Yeah, he's not in there.
Yeah, and I tried it. But it's so funny, he defended it too. And I like that he did that. But Randy Watson, did the whole "We Are Family."
Randy Watson did the whole "We Are Family" thing at the end. I thought it was such a great ending. The guys from the barbershop were great. James Earl Jones.
Arsenio did great, man. Arsenio got like 5
Arsenio killed it. The whole preacher thing. He killed it.
I might have to agree with you. At first, I was feeling some kind of way.
It's a great script. My only complaint on this film was I felt that, the prince and his wife weren't really standout characters. Like, to see a Coming to America 3 starring those two, I think would be a hard sell.
But I think the reason they did that is because it was so packed.
Yeah, right.
Right? And that the prince was the subject of a very good high one-night stand rape by Leslie Jones.
Right.
A man, if you want to know how a man gets raped, this is it.
This is it. Right.
And so he couldn't be, because he was such an afterthought. That I think the kid was funny, and I think he looked good.
Yeah.
But
he held down the role, but it wasn't a standout. Like, I had heard that DC Young Fly was up for that role as well.
Too big. And that would have been great.
Yeah.
But DC is the new, and I love DC. We we're in a company together. We started
Really?
Yeah, I built my own platform. Well, I didn't build my own platform. I became an investor in a platform because I'm watching what you do. And like I always said, I don't want to do what you do. I want to do what you do. I want to do what YouTube and Spotify. So it's called Wave, WEIV. It's view spelled backwards. You can go to ridethewave.com, WEIV. And literally it's OnlyFans for celebrities. And what I mean by that is I wanted to do an OnlyFans. And my daughter's like, you can't do that. I was like, no, I can get an OnlyFans. This makes all the sense in the world. And I put the content I want on it. Well, OnlyFans, got too bad for them, became the outlet for porn, right?
Right.
This guy's, what he just give a girl, I gave her $1.3 million and then she won't marry me. Like, girls are making real money on that. But this is different. So I thank you for letting me say that. But the Wave is my newest thing. That's all I focus on. We shoot my daughter's show every day. That comes out on April 22nd, I think it is. On my Wave channel. Like, I kept thinking, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And I just don't want to ever be fired again.
Right.
And I got fired from Fox. And I just don't want to ever got fired from Reels channel. BT.
Mm-hmm.
When they can take VH1, they say, we don't need you anymore. So I built my own network.
So you have your own platform.
I have my own platform.
Well, for example, I had Michael Jai White on here recently. And he's a good friend of Eddie Murphy's.
Yeah.
But he told me straight out he didn't think it was that great of a film. Now, I just disagree with him, but I mean, listen, this is just opinions.
It depends also what you wanted.
Yeah. Now, was it as epic as the first one? Well, no, because you're introducing all these brand new characters. So it's hard to compete with that.
And it's been 30 years.
It's been 30 years. And he's like nitpicking. He's like, like everyone's 30 years older, but the guys at the barbershop are like 80 years old 30 years ago. They should be dead. Like, the continuity's messed up.
But that's one way of looking at it. But black people don't age.
That's right. So there's a white guy in there. Remember, the
that's
Jewish
right.
guy. We age like sour milk. But overall, I'm thinking like the three royal daughters, like they were all great.
Eddie doing a movie with his kid was fabulous.
Yeah,
I don't them using Rick Ross' house.
One of those were
the middle
kids?
one was his daughter.
Oh,
his daughter, yeah.
Aha!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the light skinned one with the glasses.
That was his
daughter.
I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah,
good for her.
Yeah,
good for her. That's what's up.
She did a good job.
She did a good job.
Right.
All three of them I thought were great.
Right, and it was so cool to see royalty. Rick Ross. When I saw Rick Ross in the joint with a little accent, did you realize that was Rick Ross?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he had the accent. He worked it out. I was so happy. And he got paid for them using his house.
Right. Yeah. They did the whole thing at his house. Just overall, like I'd say, like a classic movie. If you watch the first one, you have to watch the second one. But of course, everyone's going to trash it, and everyone's no, it's trash. It's horrible compared to the first one.
The camera movement was different. I think the dancing, because Fatima got involved with the dancing, that was her.
Yeah.
What's Iman Shumpert's wife's name?
Oh, Tiana Taylor.
I only did that for you, Iman. I know her name, but I just thought I'd throw in there, hey, man, about to say something nice about your wife. I've always thought she was sexy. My wife and I sat with them after they won the first championship at the ESPN, at the ESPYs. And she was sitting there. I realized her. Always been ultra fine to me. Like, I've always thought that. And when she came out and did it, I was like, I can't even watch the screen any longer. Like, she was too big.
Yeah. I mean, she held it down. They brought in a lot of the old, like the girl, like the barking on one leg. They brought her back. They brought back the twins, the rapping twins. Like, just all of it, man. Great movie, great project.
My girl Monique Madden didn't come back, though.
My girl Lunell's in it.
Yes.
She's in it.
I know.
Tracy Morgan did a great job in it.
Tracy Morgan had a great job playing
This is what I'm saying.
Tracy.
Like, look, like we're agreeing right now.
We're agreeing. I had to go back with you.
Yeah.
I got my cousin, Mike Odom. I'm his favorite professional basketball player, even though he's Lamar's cousin too. He's like, I'm Team Johnson. He was like, he went into it, but right now I have to take your point. It was a wholesome movie, and we weren't ready for that. Yeah,
they even really toned it down a little bit, because remember there was some partial nudity. Well, there was actual nudity in the first one. The bathing, remember, like the royal bathers in the beginning, that they were naked.
That was perfect looking. That's
great.
That's when America wasn't afraid of titties.
Right.
Now we're afraid of everything.
Yeah, had thongs. Remember, like the beauty contest, the preacher, the Miss Harlem, whatever.
God is good.
Yeah, this time around, everyone is clothed and,
that's it. But that was the scary part. I think them overthinking. That's why I said I lived in a better era because you are allowed to be freer. You don't. We live in a prison state now.
Right.
Like everybody, anything you do, they go, I know there had to be cameras there. They're like, we take it for granted, but it's the messed up part.
Well, speaking of cameras, the Quavo and Sweetie elevator fight.
That wasn't a fight. Quavo was restraining this lady, and what was ever in that bag was important.
Right. Well, I actually did a poll. I said, what was in that bag that they had the tug of war over?
Oh, there was two.
The choices was the cure for AIDS, the cure for cancer, the cure for COVID-19, and a Birkin bag. And the Birkin bag actually got about 95%, apparently. So
he was like, "You're not getting this bag." And 3, 2, 1,000, my rose back. And then he had the best birthday party. I felt sorry for him because his birthday came like 3 days after that event. Yeah. Life is moving fast, man.
Right. And this kind of goes after the whole kind of breakup when she was talking about she would let her man have a threesome with another guy. You remember that? No?
Yeah, I do.
Yep. So there's that, which kind of, somewhat embarrassing for him.
Right. Okay, so
women are going to debate this. I've had
but wait.
fierce arguments with women over this, but
this is the deal. I done heard 12 rappers say, "Let my boy hit it."
Right.
I've heard it.
Yes.
I've heard it. I've been an athlete for a long time. And there's always been a girl who showed her duality and her ability to do two things at once.
Listen,
I don't see why people are tripping on that. And then people are going to say, well, you heard you was, because I heard this too. I heard I was a swinger. I love hearing stuff, reading stuff about me. I go, oh my God, they spelled my name right. That's what I say. But it's all sex, right? And then they're going to say, well, that's a gay thought of saying it. But in essence, it is what it is. And if it's about joy and it's about this situation, if a dude, and I say this, if a guy thinks he can do this, you have to remember a female can do it too.
Right. And look, listen, I've had threesomes. I had lots of them. I've had foursomes. And, you know, I've had a couple of situations where me and my homies, me and my homie hit the same girl at the same time. Wasn't really my thing. I've done it before. I mean, I'm sure I've said it before. I've tried it. It's cool. You know, it 100% made me sure at that point that I was straight. Completely confirmed that because I had absolutely no interest in the guy.
Okay, but then I heard this.
Right.
This came from...
I definitely, you know, now my threesomes when there's, you know, 2 girls or 3 girls was way more enjoyable. But listen, like I've done it. I consider myself a straight man. But I just want to say this. Whether, you know, they do threesomes, foursomes, strap-ons, S&M, they dress up like giant bunnies, whatever they do is their business. But I just feel that when you are publicly claiming someone to be in a serious relationship with them, your bedroom activities should just be private.
Everything should be private. So you should have private jets. You should have private cars. These are your private parts. I've always said, like I used to ask my gay friends, I go, why is it you broadcast you're gay? And he was like, because I'm proud of it. I go, right. He said, why do you broadcast you're black? And I sat there and I said, because I'm black. He goes, well, because I'm gay. I said, but if you were to look at me, you know I'm black.
Right.
And because of the situation in this world, it's already put a certain prejudice when you see me. I see there was a prejudice against gay folks too. And I sat there and I said, but not if you don't say anything. If you don't say anything, no one knows, right?
Yeah.
So I said, those are your private parts. Like I said, I think you're doing it to advertise to somebody around you, or you're doing it to, you want people to walk on eggshells or be a certain way. And that's when I said to him, somebody said to me, have you ever masturbated? I said, yeah. He goes, that's gay. A man touching your penis. I started dying. I was like, what? Man, if you touch yourself, man, you're a man, you touching your penis, that's gay. I didn't know what to say to him. I didn't know. And I said, so if you ever watch porn, you're gay? He goes, yeah.
Because there's a guy there.
Because there's a guy. You watching another guy. You focusing on his penis. And I said, no, you're not. You're literally fantasizing you're that guy. That's what you're doing. Yeah. You're watching it going, oh, if I was him, I'd be hitting it this way. Like, that's what's going on in your brain. It's another thing too, man. People don't like the truth.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, one man's gay is another man's straight. I mean, it's all whatever. Like, I don't, you know, it's really whatever to me.
It is.
It's really whatever. Like, I know 2 very famous men, one of which is still alive, that people have told me that they've gotten videotapes sent to them, you know, or videos sent to them of those men having sex with a woman with a strap on. Right. Oh, guys that are really just like, I'll tell you off camera who they are. But like, it was like, no, like not these guys.
Okay. So that's called pegging.
Pegging. Right. Okay. Now, is that gay? Is that straight? I don't know. I mean, it's not my thing.
Somebody told me
you're doing it with a woman.
Gay. Somebody told me it's not gay if it's a female.
If it's with a woman. Right. Now, who knows? Like, who sets the line? Nobody. There is no line. It's all based on a person's perception. You know, it's one of those things where who knows, who cares.
It's funny. It seems like a lot of people care.
A lot of people do care, but at the end of the day,
for what though? It doesn't get you any money.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah,
and you know, it is what it is. But the Quavo Sweetie fight, I mean,
it wasn't even a fight. She hit him with the bag because this is what I felt.
It was a tug of war at one point,
right?
And she just lost.
And then when she went to he sat her down. He literally sat her down. He didn't push her down and then hold his foot.
But did she fall after losing the tug of war? Is that what happened?
Yeah, like he tripped her over. He held her down in the elevator. He was like, "Yo, we got the elevator." And because this is what I say to Sweetie. I just got the magazine cover with her on the cover. Mm-hmm. And then life happens. And that's what I was like, that part of your life, you got to control it. And if anybody, and I said this to my wife, if I ever get into the point where I feel I want to punch you in your face, we're done.
Yeah.
Whether I'm mad or not, if I feel I physically want to rearrange your jaw check you, we're done.
Yeah, it's not worth
it. Because if somebody can pull you out of your character and the only way of dealing with them is to silence them with a punch, you don't need to be around them.
Facts.
So I think the way he adjusted her down and was trying to like, calm down. We in an elevator. We in a public place. You can be mad, but don't be mad here. Like, chill.
We could be mad at home.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you don't do that out in the streets. Yeah. And I think she calmed herself like, oh, shit, we are in the streets. By that time, it's on the camera.
Right. This was like a year ago also, so.
Yeah.
And they're saying she leaked it. I mean, who really knows?
Oh.
Who really knows? I wouldn't be surprised if she leaked it, but who really knows?
I'm going to say this. When I saw it, so funny you said that. So they saying that fight in the elevator was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I just saw on the cover of a magazine at the airport. I took a picture of it because I don't buy magazines anymore. Took a picture of it, and I thought, what if her publicist felt that Rihanna's career went through the roof after the Chris Brown situation?
It did.
And I think that those spin doctors feeling, well, we can recover because he didn't hit you, but it's going to be enough news to get you anywhere, and now people are going to pay attention to what you're doing.
Sure. I mean, Rihanna, I remember in an interview after that fight, she said, that night I went to sleep as Rihanna, and the next morning I woke up Britney Spears. And at the time, Britney Spears was the biggest thing ever. Rihanna was still just an R&B singer that was coming up. And yeah, she woke up and she was Britney Spears, and she stayed Britney Spears for the rest of her career. So, I mean, I'm sure that's not the way she wanted it, but it just is what it is sometimes.
Man, you got to watch that.
Lil Nas X thing. Did you watch the Did you watch the video where he's giving Satan a lap dance?
Yeah, and I saw him put his ass in Satan's face.
Yeah.
So let me say, there was a show on television called Lucifer.
Mm-hmm. Still on, I think.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And he shows he's a good devil. He's a good
sort of
devil. I know. It's crazy. And I heard this guy said, the preacher, he said, the mind and the heart of a homosexual comes from heaven, just not from God. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say it's from an angel, whatever. But let me tell you why I love Lil Nas X. I love Lil Nas X because he literally says, one, his songs hit. Whether they want to admit it or not, if you sit down and listen to him, kid is talented. He's talented. But to literally piss off the establishment of the Christian world is almost it's more bold than when oh my God, what's the girl ripped the popes?
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, she ripped a picture of the Pope.
She's
still like, kill your enemy. Yeah.
And
her career never recovered after that.
Never recovered. But she ripped because, like I said, it's almost like going after Beyonce. Like that, you don't do that to that. Lil Nas X did everything but put a church in his video.
Mm-hmm.
He went everywhere other. He went at everything that the church spoke about, to the point where he was going to heaven and took a pole to hell.
Right.
And killed the devil and became the devil himself.
Right.
I think it was the most unbelievable video next to some Michael Jackson shit I've ever seen.
Right. Now, I'm going to say I haven't watched the whole thing all the way through. Certain imagery I'm just not very fond of watching. So I just not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just not my thing. But he basically tweeted something to the effect of, being a teenager, people around him would use the devil to try to guilt him for being gay.
Yeah.
And saying, well, you're going to go to hell. You're going to burn
He said, I said I was going to go to hell.
Burn in hell and so forth. So he basically took that and sort of flipped it around to show people what he kind of went through and so forth. And honestly, when I heard that, I said, okay, I get it. Because number one, the devil's not real. There's no actual devil.
None of this.
Okay, it's all made up. It's all, even when you go through the Bible, you don't really see a lot of this. The devil never gets described as a red guy with horns and a tail and a pitchfork. Like this is all just sort of made up over the centuries to create the boogeyman and so forth. It's not an actual real person he's talking about. And I can't understand what this young man went through being a gay man in a certain type of family, in a certain type of community. I mean, they would do shock therapy in certain churches and certain hospitals to try to, traumatize people into being straight. People commit suicide over being gay and not coming out of the closet and having parents disown them and everything else like that. I mean, it was a lot to go through, I'm sure.
It's so hard that it's hard on white people. That's how crazy.
That's how crazy
it is that white people have a hard time with this.
Right. Even white people.
Even white people have it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What I mean, like, remember the kid in Texas? They dragged him on a car. Brokeback Mountain, they wouldn't play it in certain theaters because it's so tripped out that we've come this far in 2020, but we still are in 1920.
Yeah, and people are still like, I think Sada Baby, this rapper out of Detroit, said, "Dear God," we said, take Lil Nas X, not DMX, and little statements like that. And I think Joyner Lucas was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna let my kids listen to Old Town Road again." And Lil Nas X was like, "Well, that song was about adultery and doing drugs, so they shouldn't be listening to it anyway, just because it has a catchy song." He's got great comebacks for everything.
I don't think his other rappers and I really don't think they should comment. I always said this. I've always said, and they're sitting around and say, "Well, I'm doing it." Well, I'm retired now, so I can do what I want. And I don't say anything negative about people. But like Jordan Lucas is one of the dopest rappers ever. He should just not talk, but you should not talk about other rappers and saying, "I'm not going to let my kids do this." You don't have to let your kids do anything. I realize my daughter, who's turning 18 this year, I put myself in a position when I gave her a computer. Right. And I remember one day I looked at her and she looked different. She had seen something. She had seen something. She was like 9 years old. She had looked at me different, and I was like, "Hey, we got to do something about the computer time, or we have to be able to put some kind of blocks." And
filters.
She was a computer wizard by then.
I mean, the whole thing with the shoes, and he was complaining that Nike stopped the sale of the shoes. To me, that makes perfect sense from Nike's point of view. They are. I mean, he's like, "Oh, people sell customs all the time." Not to this extent.
Right.
People are not creating hundreds of pairs of a specific custom and selling it. Usually a custom is made for one individual person.
I wanted a pair.
You wanted a pair with the pentagram and the drop of blood?
Dude, I want a size 10.5. Hottest selling shoe in the world. Dog, I go down so revival. I'm on Fairfax, man, because I've always been in the sneaker game. I'm wearing my dirty Adidas today, but I'd literally, realize what that was. It was a piece of art. Like I own a pair of Jordans signed by Michael that literally my boy Ronnie Rosenbaum was like, he has everything I've ever had from those days. Ronnie Rosenbaum has them like his museum. holding it for me. He goes, let me get those Jordans. I keep those Jordans close to me. And I knew, this is so crazy. I knew when Michael first got his sneakers that this is going to be big in the future. To the point when Michael got his sneaker, I went and got my own sneaker in 1990. To the point where I got my own sneaker being made now. I'm in this movie, Sneakerella. Like, I'm so about this culture that as soon as they said they were putting out shoes, I was like, man, that would have been a pair of shoes to get. Not to wear. I never get my size anyway. But, yeah. I think Lil Nas X is a talented human being. If you watch the videos, the cinematography, the imagery, however they want to do it, when they're doing something that's all spiritual and it's all what they want to see and what they think is great, they still ridicule it. Kanye came out with Jesus Walks and got nominated, and they were offended when his song was about how wonderful Jesus was. So you're not going to make the people happy, and you should just do your art. If that's what he wants his art to be.
Yeah, and that's his art, and he's allowed to use it. Am I a Lil Nas X fan? I mean, I think Old Town Road is a cool song, but I'm not listening to his albums or anything else like that. But then again, I'm a 47-year-old guy, so I'm not really in his age range, of his target audience. But that's okay. That's his art. He wanted to create this big, like, complicated, demonic whatever video. Cool, do it. Piss some people off.
Hey, demons are angels.
Yeah, do your thing,
I just want to
man.
piss somebody
do your
off
thing.
now.
Do your thing.
Jesus,
do your thing.
and Jesus was on the mountain with the devil.
There you go.
Just them two.
Dwayne Wade recently talked about some of Boosie's comments about Zaya Wade.
Finally?
Yeah. He said, so Boosie, all the people who got something to say, J Boog, who came out recently, all the people who got something to say about my kids, I thank you because you're allowing the conversation to keep going forward, because you know what? You might not have the answer today. I don't have all the answers, but we're growing from all these conversations. So I thank everyone for even hating and starting those conversations, because those conversations are starting other conversations that we need to have, and that's happening over there.
Okay. Have you seen his daughter, D Wade's daughter?
Yes.
There's not a thought in your mind. That's a girl. There's not a thought in your mind. When she's sitting there doing the interview and I'm looking at her on top, that's a girl. So I don't know what the deal is. It doesn't make a difference what I think. But when I look and saw this little girl stuck in the wrong body, I felt for her. I was like, wow, she is definitely in the wrong body. I don't think she got any hormone shots. That's who she is. And if that's who she is without hormone shots, that should tell you something.
Hey, look, if this person wants to present themselves as a female, it's all good. If the parents are supportive of it, that's even better. It's even better. It's really better than it's better than them.
Than Lil Nas X,
excommunicating, putting this person out on the street and having them fend for themselves, which I'm sure a lot of transgender kids end up having to do. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's your kid. You're gonna love your kid.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
But this brings me to my next question. And for example, in Arkansas, the governor just signed the transgender sports bill. You heard about this?
Yeah, this is going to be funny.
Yeah, it's banning trans athletes from competing in sports. Now, I tried to bring this up on Twitter, and it just didn't turn into the conversation I hoped it would. But let me bring up this point. Let's just say Kevin Durant announced that he's transgender. Would he play for the WNBA? Or would he play for the NBA while presenting himself as a woman? And if he were to play in the WNBA, the level of advantage, would it be so extreme that he would be just an absolute unstoppable force in that game?
People are going to love me or hate me for this.
Here we go. Let's go.
One, I'm in support of their plight because I believe that when you believe something to be it, your reality is what you think. If they would have let girls and boys compete together, we wouldn't have this conversation. But the fact that they didn't let girls and boys compete together, boys high school, girls high school, YWCA, YMCA, we got to separate. The fact that they were separating these humans put us in the position we're in now. So I feel that the governor even having time to sign an act like that, it shouldn't even have been on the ballot. I don't even think that should have been something that was, we have so many other things going on in this world, and for that to make it a priority is ridiculous.
Well, I don't have a problem with males and females playing sports together. I think that's perfectly fine. But once you go into the professional levels, physically, there's just advantages and disadvantages that you can't get around.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you stronger than Serena Williams?
Am I stronger than Serena Williams? Now, tennis, I think, is one of those exceptions where I think male and female could actually play together at the highest levels.
Do you think female soldier?
It's not a sport.
Okay.
It's not a sport.
Do you feel
football? I don't think that a woman, unless you're maybe talking about a punter, any other position on a football team, I don't think a woman would be able to hold her own. Basketball, you take, who did we talk about was the greatest?
Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Swoops.
Cheryl Swoops. You put her on any real NBA team,
she's destroying people.
She's destroying people, you think?
Dog, she was destroying brothers in Summer League. No.
Okay.
Lucky.
Okay. What about the other way? You take a top notch. You take a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James.
Just take a regular guy. Let's take a guy who happens to make it in the NBA. Because in the 400, there's really no scrubs in the NBA. People can say that this guy, well, he doesn't even get off the bench. That can be he's on the wrong team. He can be on the Chauncey Billups, right?
Yeah.
Was on the wrong team so many times.
Lamar Odom was,
on the wrong team.
Put him on the sixth man, and he did his thing. But
right. You're right about that too. So I think because when we play Summer League, I play against Lisa Leslie. Her elbows are destructive.
Okay.
To the point where I was like, "Hey, man," and she was like, "Stop bitching," and I was like, "There's some shit," and I had to, you get out of that. And when you're competing, it's we have this man mentality that men are stronger than women, and we really aren't.
As a whole, men are stronger
we really are.
than women.
Yeah, I can't wait.
As a whole,
can't wait till we start having babies.
As a whole, men are stronger than women physically.
But when we come to technical things like sport and dribbling the ball, setting a pick, shooting a shot, maybe not jumping as high, but that didn't happen in the 50s anyway. There was only a couple of guys able to dunk. I think it was totally. We should totally been able to mix the race, the genders and play. So I don't agree on that level. I think to make a joke of it, because Miguel Nunez is a friend of mine, playing Joanna Man was one thing, and making that point. But there are some things, man. There's some girls. There's a 7'1" girl that plays for Las Vegas for Bill Laimbeer. I saw her at SRLA. The sports rehab, Los Angeles, right on Balboa. And I don't really walk up on anybody tall anyway. I don't like anybody tall. But to walk up on a girl that was looking down at me by an inch was scary as hell.
It's a 7'1" female, huh?
Yeah, she's center for the Las Vegas team.
How is she considered one of the top players in the WNBA?
I don't know if she's a top player because it's hard to be 7 foot too. Remember, I grew into this. A lot of people, just sprouted up. I saw in the gym, I didn't say anything to her at the rehab because, you got to go. I want you to check it out, man. We got a big title thing on the wall.
Are you talking about Margot Didek? No. No.
I don't even know her name. I know she played.
No,
for
wait.
a little bit.
She's not even alive. Never mind. Never mind. She was 7'2" though.
Yeah.
Margot Didek was only 37 when she died. Was played for the Sparks. She was 7'2".
Yeah, man.
Sheesh, big old white girl, blonde girl.
Yeah, this is a big, tall black chick. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
And what would happen if she's 7 foot and she got muscle and she's been playing with her brothers her entire life and playing because there's no girls playing. You have to play with the girls. My friend Melissa Miles played on the LA team, the female team. I think she's playing in Vegas now. She played wide receiver. Fearless wide receiver. And I said, did you work out with T.O.? She was like, yeah. Like every technical situation, catching the ball like them, running like when you see it. I just think because over time, we just don't give women a second look. And we take it as if they're second-class citizens. John Lennon made a song that I don't really want to go over, but it was said, women are the nigga of the world. John Lennon wrote that song, and he shouldn't have sang it, but that's just the mentality. They treat women as second class.
Well, look, what we need is for a woman to actually join the NBA and actually hold her own.
Oh, there's a bunch of bitches in the NBA. I couldn't let it go. Couldn't let it go. Oh my God. No, but you should. We should get rid of some of the bitches in the NBA and let some of the women play, because I'm telling you, they are better. T. Cooper, what's my man? Dwight Howard is dating T. Cooper.
Yeah.
She's bananas.
Well, there you go. If she joined the NBA and held her own,
Dwight would lose her because, Ben Simmons would be all over
right. That would change the perception. But at this point, there's never been cross-pollination between the two sports.
It's coming to a point.
If it's coming, great.
If they can be in the military, if they can be vice president, if they can be president, if they can be queen, it's just that this Western mentality is the queendoms have been around way as long as kingdoms, and we don't see it the same.
Well, I just interviewed Jose Canseco.
Oh, Jose.
Yeah. Now, Jose started taking steroids at 20. He was still in the minor leagues at that point. The next year, he became the MVP of the minor leagues. Then he joined the A's and he became Rookie of the Year, and then had a stellar career. And then ultimately, he told on everyone.
He snitched.
Yeah, when he wrote the book. And he named a lot of people by name, from the Mark McGuires to the A-Rods later on and so forth. But he said that 85% of baseball players took steroids during his day.
It was a part of what they did. They took greenies too. They used to take them like M&Ms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I looked up the NBA for something similar. So, according to reports, only 8 players have been caught and suspended for the use of PEDs.
Really?
Yeah. The biggest name is Rashard Lewis out of that list. It's Don McLean, Matt Geiger, Samela Samaki, Lindsey Hunter, Darius Miles, OJ Mayo, and Hedu Charkugla.
Are you kidding me?
Those are all the names.
And they got busted for having
steroids,
human growth. Yeah.
Human growth hormone, nandrolone, phentermine, DHEA, methanolone. I'm messing up these names, but so forth. Number one, when you were playing, were there guys that were taking steroids around you?
No, when I was playing, there was guys who were from the country. I was at the last part of Dow Dawkins' career, and there's no need for steroids. There was Terry Cummins. There was Karl Malone. There was like beasts of Buck Williams. I'm naming these people because I like that the younger audience looks them up, and I'm trying to give them a shout out. You were just damn near cock strong. I don't think dudes were into needles because needles were also now was also a part of like a herd mentality. We just got out of that. Now, if the doctor administers the steroids to you, I guess it was still illegal. And I asked this when I was on the Best Damn Sports Show. What difference does it make if they use steroids? And they go, well, they're cheating.
Right.
And I go, it doesn't make you hit the ball better. Right? He goes, well, it makes you stronger. It doesn't make you hit a curveball. It does not make you hit a slider. It doesn't at all. Matter of fact, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, but it makes you hit a home run a whole lot easier.
No.
And the big steroid focus is on, Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds.
It doesn't make you a better home run hitter. You're already a good hitter. What it does is you recover quicker the next day because they play every day. That was the problem. I asked the problem. He said, well, if you're recovering every day and everybody else is just being human, it's not fair.
Okay. Look at Barry Bonds before and after steroids.
He was still a good hitter.
Yes, but he turned into a monster. He was huge. His head got like 4 times as big.
And everybody was afraid of him. And they didn't catch Barry Bonds.
But this is what I'm saying. It transformed these guys into much bigger men.
But that doesn't make them better baseball players.
It gives them home run.
It does not.
For home runs.
So let me ask you this. This is where I'm sorry to say this, Vlad, you're wrong. If I hit you with a steroid, it's going to make you a better player. No, it's not. It's going to make you bigger and stronger, but that doesn't make you a better player.
Okay. I mean, listen, Jose in his book even said he has a twin brother.
Right.
Who was an identical twin brother who took steroids as well, but he never made it very far.
Because he wasn't as good as Jose.
He wasn't as good. I get it. Now, in a 2011 story in ESPN magazine, Derrick Rose, he was asked to rate PED use in the NBA on a scale of 1 to 10. He said, a 7. He said, it's huge. I think we need a level playing field where nobody has the advantage over the next person.
Did he know what it was?
Later on, he said, I do not recall making the statement, nor do I recall the question being asked. If that was my response to any question, I clearly misunderstood what was asked of me.
Yeah, because he didn't know what it was.
Okay. Now, George Karl, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, he wrote a book. He said, we've got a more thorough drug testing program than the NFL or MLB, which we always brag about. But we've still got a drug issue, though a different one than 30 years ago. And this one bothers me more than the dumbasses who get in trouble with recreational drugs. I'm talking about performance-enhancing drugs like steroids, human growth hormone, and so on. It's obvious some of our players are doping. How are some guys getting older, yet thinner and fitter? How are they recovering from injuries so fast? Why the hell are they going to Germany in the off-season? I doubt it's for the sauerkraut. More likely, it's for the newest, hard-to-detect blood boosters and PEDs they have in Europe. Unfortunately, drug testing has always been a couple of steps behind the drug hiding. Lance Armstrong never failed a drug test. I think we want the best athletes to succeed, not the biggest, richest cheaters employing the best scientists. But I don't know what to do about it.
Okay. I love George. But this is the deal. One, when you went to Germany, you get PRP, where they take your blood out, spin it, oxidize it, put it back into the joint area, helping healing faster. Also, stem cell, which they were taking out of bone. Mine was taken out of fat, but little bit I have. No, mine, because I got some fat around here. Took it out the fat, which is I think more bioavailability, better bioavailability for my body. And I put them in spots. I didn't get this elbow, but I got this shoulder, and my knees. So I healed my meniscus back. So for you not to want science to do greatness on keeping this unbelievable avatar going, you're crazy. I always talk about the body being like a Formula One car. If you can take the car apart, get better parts and better aerodynamics so your car is better, you should do that. If you're not hurting anybody, you should do that. This is another thing. I said, they wouldn't say anything if Tom Cruise took steroids. They didn't say anything when Sylvester Stallone would have taken steroids or Arnold Schwarzenegger would have taken steroids. If it's to keep them to entertain people, they really don't care about us. So whatever you have to do or whatever you do to maintain your ability, as Ocho Cinco's saying, the ability to provide, because that's the most unbelievable stress, you should do it. And if other guys are not up on the new joints, they lose.
Look, at the end of the day, steroids and human growth hormone and so forth are dangerous.
To who?
To the people taking them. Like
No, they're not.
Okay, look, I remember getting into a long conversation with a doctor on a flight. And we were talking about HGH because that was like the newest thing and everyone. And I was like, oh shit, maybe I should take it. And she was explaining to me from a medical point of view that HGH does make your body grow bigger, but if you have, let's say, cancer or some other disease, it'll make that grow faster exponentially as well.
Right.
So this is why you don't want to take this stuff. It's dangerous. She said this is very bad stuff.
You don't want to eat things that are cancer forming either.
Okay, yes. But at the end of the day, there's a set of rules that are across the board for everybody.
Where?
So, in every professional sport.
No.
There aren't a set of rules?
No.
They don't do drug testing?
Because they knew Jose was doing. Jose would tell you this. They knew he was doing steroids.
Well, with 85% of people doing it, then obviously they did.
So there's no rules.
There is now. After he blew the whistle on everybody.
Right. So that was the problem, right? So this is what I said. I said they want, and the reason I said there's nothing wrong with doing steroids is because everybody that goes to your doctor is doing steroids. Because the doctor will give you a steroid.
No, he says he's still on it. I asked him at the end of the interview. I said, are you still taking steroids? He said yes.
On a lower mass, right?
Yeah, I mean, he feels that steroids are actually a good thing as you get older.
Right, and they would tell you that as soon as you get pneumonia, they're giving you steroids.
Yeah, I've had steroid shots for certain
right.
things.
As soon as
like
you get the
but
coronavirus, they're giving you steroids.
They're giving you steroids, exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
let's get that point clear. That then I said this on the Best Damn Sports Show. So hypocritical that everybody out there watching can do steroids all day, but this professional athlete can't do a steroid because it makes you not sleep longer. It lets your body recover. It was good for the body. If I'm wrong, you wouldn't know. When you interviewed Jose, he looked great.
Yes, he looked great.
So it helped his body.
Right. I don't know what's going on, I mean, under the hood. I mean, he's had like 2 shoulder operations and so forth.
Over the ligaments? Well, if you're doing it wrong, like
right.
Alzado.
I mean, look at professional bodybuilders. And in the competitions where they don't test for steroids. These people look insane. They don't look human.
I know.
They do not look human.
Have you seen a bathing suit contest? They don't look human either.
I know, plastic surgery or steroids.
That's right. Like,
which one do you want to choose?
It's what people want to do with their body. It's their
I feel you.
body.
I feel you. I feel you. It is what it is. Over the years we've been doing interviews, a few times you've mentioned your house in Detroit.
Yeah.
And your mansion. And
Yeah.
I didn't really think anything of it because, I live in a mansion too.
Right.
My friends live in mansions. Like, a lot of people who sit down with me live in mansions. It's a mansion. Not a huge deal, especially for people who live in LA.
Y'all live in a big house. I lived in a mansion.
Yeah, until I actually looked up this fucking mansion of yours, which is known as Bishop's Mansion.
Right.
Because I guess a bishop.
Yeah.
It was a church. It was a monastery.
It was the Cardinals' mansion.
It was the Cardinals' mansion.
First
the monastery who got converted into a private home. 30,000 square feet.
40,000.
40,000? My bad. 40,000 square feet.
13 bathrooms, 13
my
bedrooms.
House, what is my house right now? My house in Calabasas is about
6,200?
Maybe 6,000, 6,000 square feet.
5,600. You tell me
something like that.
Right.
So we're talking about 7 times the size of my house.
We're talking about my bedroom.
And my house is big. I live in a 5-bedroom. Like
my bedroom is bigger than my house I live in now.
Yo.
It was 2,400 square feet.
Wow.
And somebody said, what do you mean? Because it went like this, right? It was an office, then a bedroom, closet, bathroom, library, another hall, and then I
Yeah.
had the cathedral. I took the chapel and made it a movie room. But I have 4 levels.
It's absolutely stunning. Was it the biggest home in
It's the largest home in Michigan.
Michigan? There we
Yeah,
go.
man.
The largest home in the entire state.
The entire state. And it's on the only hill that's in Detroit.
Does Spike Lee have his own
He had his own room. He took a whole section of my
whole
house
section, right?
when he was interviewing Malcolm X's family members. He had a great room in my house. And he liked coming in because he was like, yo, this is bomb. And did he love my house? He came in, he thought it was great. I had Janet Jackson there. I had Bill Bellamy. Bill Bellamy, if he tells a story, will tell you one of the greatest stories. Martin Lawrence, Guy, Regina Bell. I had everybody, man, come through the house. Stevie was going to purchase it, but they were selling it for too much. And then
Stevie Wonder?
Stevie Wonder. And then a year later, I got the price down to $750,000. I got it down to $500,000, and I paid $250,000 for the furniture, and then redid with the same fabrics from Italy that they used. We had a master upholsterer come in and literally take out the stuff and put it back. There was no lacquer in this house except for my Mitsubishi TV, which was a size 65, and I thought I was the hottest thing in the world. Big ass box TV.
Big back.
Yeah, big ass back, man. That was the only thing lacquer in the whole house. I kept it as cool. Now it's being redone beautifully.
Oh yeah, there's a website for it, and it actually shows the remodeling of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I used to tell people, I told you, girls would walk in and leave with a chipped tooth because they come in and look around, and then their panties would fall out and they would trip and hit their face on the ground. I remember this girl came in my house one time, and I did the whole, I'm going to be a little bit late for her. And I said, well, you can come over here. She goes, we're going to go to dinner? I said, yeah. She goes, you're going to pick me up? I go, why don't you come over here and we'll leave from here? And she was like, huh? I said, well, I really don't want to be seen picking, because they're tripping. You live around the corner. I'll bring you back. When she gets there, my girl Kimmy, who was my chef at the time, opens the door and walks her into the small room. It's a small dining room. I didn't take it in the big room. Right. The small dining room had 8 seats. My dining room table was longer than Bruce Wayne's in the movies. and it had a buzz on the ground, right? And she hated when I did this. I had some girl sitting there, and I said, you want to sit down here or you want to sit here? Vanessa Williams came to my house. This is one of my favorite times. Vanessa came with her husband. She was pregnant. And I would hit the buzzer, and Kim would come up and be like, you rang.
like lurch.
Yeah, some more apple juice. Like that.
40,000 square feet.
It was the greatest house.
I mean, would people just get lost in there? Was there
Yeah, man, this guy got lost. He was robbing them. He was robbing the Catholic Church. The cardinal had died. And so they didn't know what they were going on. And this guy had snuck in and was going to start stealing things. And he realized they don't even know I'm here. So they caught him because he was asleep.
He just fell asleep in your house somewhere.
I guess he was coming in and out, robbing it, knowing how to get there, and then overslept. And they got him. But I remember I stayed in there by myself, and I got so scared. I said, I don't want anybody in the house. I want to be here by myself. I just had gotten it 1 week. Don't bother me. I want to learn the house by myself. And by the night 2, I called my girl Julie, and was like, yeah, you want to hang out?
So why did you sell it?
I sold the house. I moved to Miami.
Okay.
I got a brand new contract. I was not going back to Detroit. And in 1994, guy says to me, hey, man, you should auction this stuff if you're never going back to it. His name was Mike Melker. Biggest mistake I've ever made. I sold the house because I never was going back to Detroit. And then the city, what do you call it? I did, like I said, with the Detroit Opera. I did an opera house where we had designers come in and redo the house. So it's 55 rooms. And
55
rooms. And so rooms, that including closets and bathrooms. And we had 5. I looked for 5 black. 10% of the designers had to be black, and one of them is still a close friend of me today. And by the time it's finished, I didn't want to sell it. But as soon as they saw it, the bishop was like, I want this house. And I haven't gone back to live in Detroit. If you remember, too, I sold it because when you have something, you have to use it. And all of a sudden, I was going to have a mansion that I was letting other people live in.
I feel you.
I was done.
It's just too big for you.
It was
too big for anyone.
It would have been. It fit me perfectly. I never had to duck except one room. It was a small bathroom. I never had to duck. It fit me because I was the king of Detroit. In my brain, I know Isaiah is the king of Detroit, but in my brain, I was the king of the D inside Detroit. And if you get a small bedroom or a small house, which I'd rather now, like the most I want in a house might be 3,000 square feet. Maybe, because I've lived.
I can't do that.
I know, but soon as you realize my daughter's about to be 18,
That's
she's
too
out.
small for me.
Yeah, but then think about your rooms. You got your room. You don't really care about other people's rooms. You got the living room. The kitchen has to be bomb. And then you want a guest house.
Yeah. My next house is going to have a guest house.
Yeah, I got a guest house.
That's what I need.
Yeah, the guest house is the best invention in houses.
Right. Right. This is the first time I'm actually saying this publicly. I'm now vaccinated.
Oh, really?
Yes. They actually opened it up in California. It's like right now you could actually go to Bakersfield and it's just open to anyone 16 and up. You don't even need an appointment. Just show up.
I don't eat meat either.
Right.
Right. So I just said this, which is going to seem contradictory when I said what's wrong with steroids. The reason I'm saying that is because people don't realize most of the time they get pills from doctors, they're steroids. They don't realize that. They don't realize when you have the flu or when you used to have the flu or you had any compromising situation in your body, they gave you steroids. People didn't realize that. They said, well, they're different than the ones they're giving you when you play sports. Really, somewhat, but growth hormone.
Yeah.
Hormone is from a horse or whatever, so that's the thing. I don't really my wife said to me, hey, remember you went to India? Yeah. She goes, you got inoculated without saying a word. You jumped online because they tell you could not go to India without getting inoculated.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have travel passports based on the vaccine, vaccine passports.
Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. So even if you get corona now after having the vaccine, would you be okay?
Yes.
You would still be okay that 100%. If you got
100%.
coronavirus, but you got the vaccine, which is supposed to stop you from getting coronavirus.
Well, hold on. It's the main purpose of the vaccine is not to stop you from getting COVID.
It's to stop you from dying?
Stop you from dying. Or getting...
90% of people don't die.
Yes.
So the only people that die are obese, excuse me, y'all, obese, old, with pre-existing diseases like diabetes, and is why so many black people died.
That's not actually true, because a regular guest on our show is Dr. Laz, who's a doctor in Las Vegas, who's been treating COVID patients from day one. And he has told me straight up on camera that, yes, a lot of the people who died are older or had pre-existing conditions, but there are people that under his watch have died in their 30s who are perfectly healthy.
Visually?
No. They were perfectly healthy. Like, this is their this was their doctor. He has access to all their medical charts and everything else like that.
Okay.
So
I can bring a doctor I promise I would bring him, sit him here right now. The fact that the liberal media, and I'm going to say that.
The liberal media, here we go. Which I am a part of, by the way.
Right. The reason I say that is it's not even a focus on what the right thing to do at this point, because they tell you, we don't know. And they also said, if you got the shot and in 6 months, the antibodies are there. They also said if you got corona and you survived it, the chances of you getting again are slim and none.
Actually, people like I said, with Dr. Laz, he said that he's had multiple people get COVID twice. Now, keep in mind, there's the mutations.
So the information is all wrong.
It's not all wrong, but the whole point is that there's enough of a chance, of a credible chance of you dying or ending up in the ICU on a breathing tube. I know 2 of my guests that I have personally interviewed have died. With the third, Reggie Wright Jr., who has been on a ventilator for the last couple of months, last I checked.
My cousin Leroy was on a ventilator for like 30 days, and he came out. And then his mother got sick and died.
Oh, it's a serious thing. So
Right,
my whole
but
thing,
this-
my
so
whole
was the
thing
flu,
is,
though, fam.
back to your question. Yes, I have been vaccinated. I got the Moderna virus. I got the Moderna vaccine, and if I do get sick and I don't die, I'll feel like it was the right choice. I have gone a year without getting sick. I've been very careful. I've been social distance. I haven't gone to any
Do you
parties.
believe, the social distance was started by some guy's 4-year-old daughter? It doesn't make any sense. What is 6 feet? And I know we're going to get in trouble for this. I don't really care because, like I said, I'm retired. If I stand there and there's 6 feet here,
Yeah.
and then the line moves and I move from there to your spot, are you telling me the virus moves every 6 feet? It makes no sense. The best thing,
there's particles in the air that linger in the air.
it's so bullshit that you even believe
It's all
that.
bullshit. All right.
Oh, let me just. This is the best thing that my man said. He said, we're all wearing masks, and then some people aren't wearing masks, and that's not good for the country. It'd be like the P section of the pool. Degrassi said that, right?
P section. Okay.
The P section of the pool. Like, that's the P section of the pool. We're all in the pool, bro. It don't make a difference where you pee at. You getting some pee on
Get some pee on. Well, listen, at the end of the day, I know people who refuse to take. I know people that have gotten COVID and will not take the vaccine because they're just not into hospitals and pills and medicine and stuff like that.
If you've gotten COVID, now this makes sense. If you've gotten COVID, that means you have the antibodies in your body.
Yes.
You don't need
for a certain amount of time, not forever.
So you think your vaccine
forever.
lasts forever?
No, 6 months is what they say. So
What are you doing? What are you doing? So they wasn't selling enough flu shots, so they had to change the name of it, and every 6 months you get a new one?
So basically, you're not taking it. This has been your stance the whole time. I expected it to be the stance once again.
Dog, if they tell me I can't travel and I have to get inoculated, I'll get inoculated.
There you go.
But if they tell me that it's going to help me, that's some bullshit.
So if they told you that you can't get on a plane without taking the vaccine, you're taking it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Boosie says something similar also.
Yeah.
Boosie hasn't gotten the vaccine, but he said if he can't fly with it.
I'm a black man in America. I'm used to being in jail. I'm used to being held down. I'm used to being forced upon things. I'm used to learning how to deal with it.
Well, no one's going to be forced to take it.
Obviously.
Ultimately.
They are forced.
But they are going to exclude people. I mean, because you already have sports games. So, for example, the Miami Heat are adding a vaccinated-only section for home games.
Because they're in Florida. And they people do things just to make other people feel great. Listen, I would love to bring my doctors in here and my friends. Yes, I know COVID is real. I believe it.
Yes.
I haven't felt well at certain times during this year. But while I was in Canada, I got tested literally every other day or every 3 days for 90 days. Yeah, it was a trip, right? That they were tripping like that. And I listen to everything and I try not to get on the wrong side because of this, cancer culture.
Right.
But some of this shit is bullshit. You can't, they're not even giving you the right answers. And then, I said to my assistant, my chief of staff, Sandra, she was like, I got it. And I believe in Dr. Fauci. And I go, why? And she goes, what? And I go, you since watching CNN? Oh, it's not that. I said, Sandra, I watch you. You watch CNN only every night. So if you only watching television, one of the best things in this magazine I got called The Week, he said, guy goes up to this homeless guy and goes, well, why don't you have COVID? He goes, I don't watch television. You deal with that.
Before I let you go, rest in peace, Lakers legend, Elgin Baylor.
The real 22, the original.
You know, dead at 86. He's got that statue of him.
Mm-hmm. Deuces. Soon as I felt so bad, man, and I sent condolences to his wife right away.
You knew him?
Yeah. I
Really?
couldn't wait to meet Elgin Baylor. That was like, that's what I mean when I kind of gotten in so much trouble when they were like, who's in your top 10? Michael Jordan's not in your top 5? Elgin Baylor. I said that to somebody and I go, how are y'all so disrespectful? This dude was Michael Jordan. Then Jerry West played with him. That's what he said. Jerry West played with Elgin Baylor. That's how good Elgin Baylor was. And Deuces, man, I couldn't wait. When I got the number, Vlad, I tell this story already? I think so. So I'm on the Lakers in this picture day, and they go, what's your number, Sal? I go 22, because they don't put your number on the back. They only go in front. The 22, the guy makes the jersey up. I throw it on. I run to the booth. Johnny Black was like, Sal, stop, baby. Oh, come on, man. Took it off. He had to give me number 16. The guy making the jerseys didn't realize it was hanging above us. And I was like, if they're going to let me wear it, I'm going to at least get a picture in it. It's not going to be used. I know I got to get another jersey. That's why I wore number 16. I wanted to wear Deuce's number so bad, and I said it to him too. And just to give you an example, how disrespectful a lot of people were to Deuce's. He was working for the Clippers, and he was telling everybody how racist Sterling was. He sued them, and the NBA didn't back him.
Really?
Yeah. And then when it came out, they went to Elgin. NBA had to apologize. Then they had to pay him out.
You know, I mean, speaking of the Clippers, I interviewed Lamar Odom, like I said recently, who played for the Clippers,
right,
fresh out of college. And he essentially implied that Roger Sterling is gay. He said that he would go into the locker room, he would gawk at the players, start commenting how handsome they were and everything else like that, and he just said the whole vibe of it just made him feel uncomfortable. What do you think?
What's the kid from Superbad?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, this is another thing, man. I remember, man, when I was playing in Detroit, we would go, or even in college, you'd be in the locker room and there'd be people who got media passes and they got the mic up to the star and they're like this. You know, the dick watchers are everywhere. It's like, the fucking microphone's not even on. It's just dick watchers. Excuse me as I pull this out.
Who knows? Who knows, man? It made for an interesting soundbite.
It sure
Shout out to Lamar Odom, man.
Shout out.
Glad he made it.
Big
through.
O.
You know, a very interesting life and so forth. Rest in peace to everyone who passed. Like I said, like Elgin Baylor, whose name I messed up when I first mentioned it.
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor. You know, thank you so much for coming back in, man. One of my favorite times when we do it. This is Chuck D's favorite sports show on on media. He makes a point of always saying it.
Hey, on my platform, there's going to be some interviews, but the difference, Vlad, is I literally am I'm an owner on the platform, and even though it's my channel, I'm literally giving all these young, up-and-coming interviewers a chance. So, like, my first show I'm going to show you a clip of it, is my daughter's, cannabis show. It's called The Teachings because she's destigmatizing it. Then I'm doing this health show that with all herbs. It's all organic. It's all alkaline. It's all the far side. And then I'm not going to have a debate. I was going to have one who goes against and do what we just did about COVID. But there's too many diseases happening for me to focus on one. And I always say to them, when something is up and it's so big and it's so loud, I stop and I look behind the curtain or I look behind me. There's something going on.
There we go. That's how we're going to end it. John Salley, until next time. Peace.